am Jamesia Jonay, the Wealth Creator. I show people how to use other people's money to pay their mortgage, create cash flow, generate generational wealth, and protect their assets. This video, we're going to talk about how the elderly lose their rights, money, and property. I am a licensed real estate agent in the state of Illinois. However, I am able to help clients throughout the nation with their home buying and home selling needs, right? I am also a licensed life insurance agent in the state of Illinois, North Carolina, Georgia, as well as Michigan and Indiana. So that's how I help people protect their assets. You are your number one asset and so much more. But last night, I'm in Chicago and we are on lockdown, or we're sheltered in, right? Trying to lessen the curve. The whole coronavirus thing is going around and, it's a serious matter. And I was watching Dirty Money last night. I've been watching a little more Netflix than usual, working from home, sheltered in. I'm watching Dirty Money, and the episode that I watched was Guardians, and it piques my attention for a lot of reasons, and I'm just gonna go ahead and get right into it. I don't remember the names, so I'm going to change the names, but I definitely remember the scenarios, right? So scenario one, Amy and her father, Joe. Joe is a well-established man. He has done well for himself. He did estate planning. He has a will in order. He has some money. He has assets. Some kind of way, Joe ends up being a guardian of the state. The state ends up having power of attorney over him to the point that his daughter wasn't even able to easily access him. He was deemed incapacitated, and that gave the state the ability to appoint a guardian to him. They did not appoint his daughter. In appointing the guardian to him, they also took his property, any assets that he owned, property and money. So the property and money that he had that was to go to his daughter is now gone to the state and whoever his power of attorney was, or his guardian, right? So then there was Bob. Bob is living in his childhood home that he grew up in. He has also purchased 5 properties in the same area. So Bob's mother passed away. He got a little depressed about that, understandably so, right? His mother passed away and he received a letter in the mail. When he received a letter in the mail, it said that he needed to fix the issues with his property, and if he didn't respond within a certain amount of time, a receiver would be appointed over his property, right? So Bob picks up the phone. He calls the number that's on the letter. He's not able to get through to anybody. He's leaving messages. So then Bob decides, I'm going to go to my lender, right, the bank, who I'm paying this mortgage to get some answers. So when Bob goes to the lender to get answers, the lender tells him, oh, well, we're going to refer you to a lawyer that deals with these issues. So Bob goes to the lawyer who deals with the issues. He shows the lawyer the letter. Bob is looking for help. Bob is in his right mind, able-bodied, okay? So the lawyer tells him $6,000 retainer to even tell you what's going on. So Bob is like, what's going on? What needs to be fixed? And the lawyer, based on the letter, shrubbery needs to be cut down in your roof. So when Bob's mother passed away, he didn't really keep up the outside of his property like he should. And the letter basically said one of the neighbors called and reported, right? So as a neighbor, especially somebody who's been in the home or in the area 40, 50 years, ring their doorbell, knock on their door. Hey, are you okay? Is there anything that you need help with? And be genuine about it. Unfortunately, our elderly and other populations who are maybe not as savvy or just aren't um, well protected or have a network of family connected to them are preyed upon and scammers scam. And with this coronavirus that's going around right now, scammers are scamming, right? And vulnerable populations, unfortunately, are being preyed upon by opportunists who are sneaky and conniving, okay? So the lawyer and Bob goes to his home, and the lawyer calls some sort of contractor, and the contractor comes out and says, oh, this is a lot of work that needs to be done. I guarantee you he probably could have taken care of the shrubbery for less than $6,000, right? So Bob is like, fine, no problem. He has a little money. He owns 5 houses, right? He has a little money. He's getting rental income. He has some assets. And Bob ends up going back to the lawyer's office, and the lawyer tells him to sign a sheet of paper. Bob didn't realize he was signing over power of attorney to the lawyer. I'm going to make this long story short. Bob signed over power of attorney. Sheriff shows up at Bob's door. Bob is removed from his home. Bob is labeled incapacitated by a psychiatrist hired by the lawyer, not by his primary care physician. Since he's labeled incapacitated, now the lawyer has power of attorney. Bob's childhood home sold for $485,000. It was torn down. Duplex was built in that same space. The duplex sold for $1.6 million. The other 4 or 5 properties that Bob owned were also sold. Instead of Bob receiving his money, he received a bill for almost $38,000 from the attorney for the guardianship process. Now Bob is living in an assisted living facility, and he's only getting $300 a month. The bank failed him. The lawyer failed him. It seems like the courts failed him. Not it seems like. The bank, the lawyer, the courts failed him. It seems like they were all in cahoots. It seems like Bob was in an area that was going to be gentrified or changed over because he was elderly. They are using guardianship and receivership to prey upon and take the elderly's rights away. His rights were taken away with him being deemed incapacitated. That allowed them to take his money and his property. Bob right now is still fighting. Of course, he can't get the property back because they tore it down, but he definitely should have benefited from the proceeds of the sale. Even if he's incapacitated, somebody should be over his finances, right? So it was great to see that there is an organization and a company, a business that exists to help seniors. But this really touched me being in the real estate market. I am a wholesaler. I understand wholesaling. And sometimes people feel like wholesalers prey upon the elderly. I work with ethics and integrity all the time. Most of the properties that we wholesaled are vacant and abandoned. But I wanted to share what receivership is. Receivership is, so with receivership, initially, a receiver is appointed for no more than 3 months, right? Guardianship is a legal relationship created when a court appoints an individual to care for an elderly person who is no longer able to care for himself or herself. Bob is able to care for himself or herself. But Bob's rights were taken away when he was deemed incapacitated. We don't want to lose grandma and granddaddy's house to the state. We want to make sure that their affairs are in order, that they have a will, that they have a trust in place, that they already have an established power of attorney. Maybe we want to make sure when our elderly get to a certain age that we know have assets, because one of the things that Dirty Money focused in on was elderly that have property and a good amount of money are the ones that fall prey to this, right? So it's not all elderly, it's elderly that have assets and property that seem to fall prey to this and are taken advantage of, right? So maybe we figure out a way to automatically establish guardianship over our elderly once they become a certain age to protect them, right? My father, my mother, my parents are considered senior citizens at this point. I would hate for them to lose their property. For somebody to say my father isn't being properly taken care of and telling me when I can see them. There was one example in the episode where they won't even tell the woman who the man was dating and his daughter where this man is. But the man had a business, he had money, right? So it's criminal. It's looked at as a civil matter, but I agree with the lady who started the business to help the elderly. This is a criminal issue, right? So if you have elderly people in your family that own property, that might have a little money, make sure that you or their child, someone they trust and love, has a great relationship with them, that is not looking to take advantage of them in any way, is helping them with their affairs. Grandma, granddaddy, great auntie, great uncle, elderly person in my family, you receive a letter, you receive certain calls, please reach out to me. I will go with you. I will help you out. Let's establish power of attorney. Let's get guardianship established, because I don't want you to fall prey to the state and these government entities, because the state is involved, the court is involved, that are taking people's property, taking their rights away, and taking their money, right? So I am Jamesia Jonay, the wealth creator. Show people how to use other people's money to pay their mortgage, to create cash flow. No, I show people how to pay their mortgage, create cash flow, generate generational wealth, and protect their assets. I am a licensed real estate agent, licensed life insurance agent in the state of Illinois. I work with individuals nationwide when it comes to their real estate and life insurance needs. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Remember to subscribe if you have not subscribed to this video. I'm coming with 30 days of fire content starting today. And visit my website, connect with me. I would love to connect with you. Be sure to like this video, leave a comment, leave a question, reach out to me, share it with someone you know. Watch the Dirty Money episode, Guardians, on Netflix. If you have Netflix, please check it out, right? And let's make sure we're protecting our elderly, that we're protecting anybody who someone is preying upon and trying to take advantage of them. I was upset. I'm watching Netflix last night at like 1 o'clock in the morning, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this, right? But this guardianship, receivership, what I see it as is a land grab. If there's an area with an older person that they know won't move, like there are some cities where there's one house still standing because the seller won't sell and everything else has been developed around it. It reminds me of that. And in some of these instances, it's a land grab, but it's not only a land grab. They're not only taking these people's property, they're selling it, and the owner is not benefiting from the proceeds of the sale, and they are being deemed incapacitated, put in living facilities, isolated and separated from their families. I really agree that it is a criminal and not a civil matter. Let's work together to help each other and look out for our elderly, starting with our own.